Yeah, thanks again, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate it. This is the third installment of our customer spotlight. We've had National Express and then Churchill's China, and this time I'm delighted to be joined by James Webb from his Romans Group. Just a quick bit, he's going to talk about the journey from selection of Jedox all the way through to where they are now. I think it'd be very insightful, and he's a willing reference as well for any future conversations anyone wants to have. So I think on that, James, it'd be straight over to 99% of the talking.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm James Webb, Head of FP&A at LRG. Today, I'd like to share our journey over the last couple of years and how we've used Jedox to transform budgeting, forecasting, and reporting across the business. I'm going to talk through the problems we were trying to solve, how we approached the implementation, what worked well, some of the lessons we learned along the way, and where we're looking to take the platform next. Hopefully, you'll come away with a few ideas that might be useful in your own organisation. Before we get into the implementation, it's worth giving you a little bit of background on LRG. Our brand has been around for about a century. Portico's origins date back to 1818. Other brands have grown from humble beginnings. Leaders was founded in Brighton in 1983 with a single branch and now operates 120 branches across the south of England. In 2016, Leaders and Romans merged to create one of the UK's largest property services groups. Then, in 2022, Platinum Equity acquired LRG, providing the investment to continue growing the business. Today, we operate more than 350 branches across around 30 brands, covering lettings, residential sales, financial services, surveying, planning, and a number of other property services. We manage around 73,000 properties, employ more than 3,500 people, and our planning model contains over 200 P&L lines and more than 50 operational KPI drivers. Like many organisations, we've grown significantly through acquisitions. That's been fantastic from a commercial perspective, but it also introduced a lot of complexity into planning, forecasting, and reporting. Before implementing Jedox, our planning processes simply hadn't kept pace with the growth of the business. We had more than 15 interconnected Excel models supporting different business lines. Individually, they all work reasonably well. They become very different. Every budget cycle involved a huge amount of manual effort. We were consolidating spreadsheets, checking formulas, updating lookups, distributing files across the business, collecting them back, and then validating all of the numbers. Keeping track of changes to drivers, payroll assumptions, and different versions was becoming increasingly difficult. I'm sure many of you have experienced exactly the same challenges. The annual budget process took around 3 months, and forecasting was even more difficult. We simply didn't have enough time all of those models through multiple rounds of discussion with the business. As a result, our reforecast became much higher level than we'd have liked, which made it harder to get engagement from operational teams. Reporting wasn't much different. Reports were distributed by email as Excel files and PDFs, which created governance challenges and version control issues. As we continued to grow through acquisitions, maintaining consistent organizational structures, calculations, and master data became increasingly difficult. It became clear that the way we'd always planned simply wasn't going to scale with the business. After going through my first budget cycle at LRG, one thing became very clear. We didn't just need a better planning tool, we needed a better planning process. Before we looked at any technology, we stepped back and designed what we actually wanted budgeting and forecasting to look like. We decided what should sit inside the EPM platform and what should remain in Excel. And most importantly, what information the business once we had that platform became much easier. There were 4 main reasons we chose Jedox. Firstly, performance. We needed something that could comfortably handle large models, complex calculations, and hundreds of users without slowing down. Secondly, integration. Connecting to D365 was relatively straightforward, and we could also bring in payroll and operational KPI data using CSV files that already form part of our existing processes. Thirdly, adoption. Finance teams live in Excel, so being able to continue working there through the Excel add-in made the transition much easier. At the same time, the wider business could access everything through a simple web, giving everyone one planning. One thing I particularly liked was that the reports and dashboards still felt familiar. They looked much closer to the Excel and PowerPoint reports we're used to than many other BI tools. Finally, governance. Our access rights are fairly complex, so having role-based security built into the platform from day one was a major advantage. This slide shows the platform we've built over the last couple of years. At the center is a single connected planning platform. We deliberately wanted to avoid having lots of disconnected models. Instead, we separated the different planning areas into dedicated cubes for P&L, KPIs, and payroll, but connected them all together through shared dimensions and common business logic. That means a change made in one area immediately becomes available everywhere else. Every 15 minutes during month end. Alongside that, we load payroll and operational KPI information into the platform, giving us one connected view of the business. Users can then consume that information in whichever way suits them best, whether that's through web dashboards, published reports, or the Excel add-in. Everything we've talked about so far is built on one simple idea: shared dimensions. This has probably been the single biggest improvement we've made compared to the way we used to work in Excel. Previously, every planning model had its own organization and other lookups, as well as multiple versions of file. Now, every cube references exactly the same dimension. On the left, we have organization hierarchy. This is actually simplified for the presentation. Our real hierarchy has 7 levels, but the principle is the same. Whether someone is looking at lettings, residential sales, property management, payroll, KPIs, or the P&L, they're all using exactly the same organizational structure. That means we can report at branch, regional, and divisional level or across the whole business without maintaining multiple hierarchies. Attributes of the organization dimension can be published to reports as virtual dimensions, allowing the business to be sliced in multiple other ways, such as by acquisition group or business owner. In the middle is our version dimension. Rather than creating new planning models every time we produce another forecast, we simply create another version within the same model. Budgets, forecasts, comparisons, and our live planning model all sit together in one structure. Finally, we have the time dimension, and this is much more than just a list of months. It contains a lot of powerful logic: month, quarter, year to date, year to go, rolling 3, 6, and 12-month periods, and comparison periods. I think this is one of the most underrated benefits. Changing the reporting month in our global settings automatically rolls forward all web-based reports to show the latest month. Creating ad hoc analysis becomes incredibly easy. You're not changing formulas or multi-selecting periods in pivot tables anymore. You're simply changing the time dimension. The same is true across the whole platform. Every report, every dashboard, every planning model uses exactly the same dimensions. Whether we're integrating an acquisition or moving branches between regions, we update the hierarchy once and everything else updates automatically. It sounds like a small thing, but it removes a huge amount of administration and gives out exactly. Once we had the platform in place, we could start moving some of our key revenue and cost models out of Excel and into Jedox. We didn't try to move absolutely everything. Some of our more detailed modeling still sits in Excel, where the flexibility is valuable. The important thing was finding the right balance between what should remain in Excel and what should become part of the connected planning platform. For example, one of our key lettings revenue lines is driven by 3 metrics: managed tenancies, average rent, and average commission. Residential sales commission works in a similar way, using exchanges, headcount, plan recruitment, and centrally managed inflation assumptions. Those drivers flow automatically from the KPI and payroll cubes into the P&L in real time. We also calculate a number of variable costs using a combination of operational KPIs and historic financial data, with those calculations maintained centrally rather than repeated across multiple spreadsheets. As the KPIs, payroll, and P&L metrics are planned in Jedox, it is very easy for us to explain variances between any 2 versions and to drill up and down the hierarchies and across dimensions. Because everything is connected, we can immediately understand how changes in operational drivers flow through to the P&L, shifting conversations away from validating numbers and towards understanding business performance. One of the biggest challenges in planning is finding the right balance between central control and local ownership. Finance doesn't want to build hundreds of individual branch budgets or forecasts every planning cycle. Equally, you don't want to hand branches a set of targets they don't believe in. This is the approach we've developed. Finance and our managing directors begin by setting a small number of high-level assumptions. This is where our supplementary models in Excel are useful. as we can quickly adapt these at a high level to changing business priorities and market dynamics. The core model built into Jedox doesn't need to change, just the way we think about and model the inputs. Jedox then converts those assumptions into regional and branch targets automatically. That's our starting point. The regional directors then take ownership. They know their markets far better than finance ever could. They understand where new people are joining, where performance has been exceptional, or where last year's results included one-off events that aren't going to repeat. They can redistribute targets across their own branches based on local market knowledge. We monitor the changes through dashboards and reports, making sure regional totals remain aligned with the original assumptions. It's given regional directors genuine ownership of their plans while ensuring the initial expectations are met. For us, that's probably been one of the biggest cultural changes we've achieved through the implementation. Historically, forecasting was a painful exercise. Every quarter, we were copying spreadsheets, updating formulas, and effectively rebuilding large parts of the models. Today, it's a continuous process. We work in a single life planning model. Each month, the forecast rolls forward in a single click. The latest financial results and operational KPIs are blended into the live version, replacing forecast values for completed months and rebasing the remainder of the forecast from the latest actual position. Finance and business then review assumptions, update branch forecasts, and refine the outlook for the rest of the year. Once we're happy, we simply copy to a static version. That gives us a permanent snapshot for reporting and comparison, while the live model continues to evolve. One of the biggest advantages of this approach is that we're always planning beyond the financial year. Every forecast includes full 12 months of the following year. So when budget season arrives, we aren't starting from scratch. We're already looking at next year's performance based on the latest assumptions and the latest view of the business. Every forecast becomes the starting point for the next one. That has improved both the quality of our forecasts and the efficiency of the entire planning process. So reporting. One of our design principles from the very beginning was flexibility. Different users work in different ways, so we wanted to give people the option to consume information in the way that suited them best. For finance, that's often through the Excel add-in. It allows us to build ad hoc analyses using the Excel skills the team already has, while always connecting back to the same governed data. For the wider business, it's primarily through web dashboards and published reports. Every report is driven by the same dimensions and business logic we've talked about throughout the presentation. If I change the organization, the reporting period, or the planning version, every chart, every table, and every KPI updates instantly. We also design reports to be interactive rather than static. Users can drill from a high-level summary all the way down to branch performance without asking finance to produce another report. And where more detail is needed, authorized users can drill straight through into the underlying D365 transactions, even for information that isn't physically stored in the cubes, such as spend by supplier. One of the biggest changes for finance is that we're no longer producing dozens of bespoke reports each month. One report can cover multiple business uses across different divisions and regions. We're maintaining one governed reporting platform that allows people to answer many of their own questions. Most of these reports haven't needed to change since we went live nearly 2 years ago, despite the organization continuing to grow through acquisitions. That's only possible because everything is driven by those shared dimensions and hierarchies we looked at earlier. As previously mentioned, governance and access rights are very important. Today, we have over 500 users accessing information across more than 350 branches. Managing that manually simply isn't practical. Everything is therefore controlled through role-based security combined with our organization hierarchy. Different user groups receive different capabilities. Some users can build reports in Excel, others can publish reports. Some can plan KPIs and headcount, while many users simply consume published information. At the same time, the organization dimension determines where they can see that information. We can control access separately across the P&L, KPI, and payroll cubes. A branch manager only sees their own branch P&L and payroll, but sees their whole region's KPIs. A regional director automatically sees all branches within their region and can plan KPIs and headcount. It gives us strong governance with minimal administrative burden for the systems team. Looking back, we've achieved what we set out to do. We've moved from disconnected spreadsheets to a genuinely connected planning platform. Planning is significantly faster because we're working from one model instead of maintaining multiple independent files. Decision-making has improved because finance and the business are working from the same data, the same assumptions, and the same definitions. Visibility has improved enormously. Whether you're a branch manager, a regional director, or a member of the executive team, everyone is looking at trusted information that's appropriate for their role. But for me, perhaps the biggest achievement is the foundation we've built. Shared dimensions, centralized business logic, and governed access have given us a platform that can continue to grow alongside the business. Having said that, we certainly don't see the project as finished. In many ways, we're only just getting started. Our next priorities are to expand our driver-based models into additional revenue streams and cost areas, develop richer operational KPI dashboards, and continue reducing our reliance on Excel and PowerPoint for exec and private equity reporting. We're also looking at further automating our data integrations, particularly around payroll and other operational systems, to remove even more manual effort. Before I finish, I'll leave you with this. Jedox has become much more than a budgeting tool for us. It's now the platform we use to bring together planning, forecasting, and reporting across the business. And that's it, Mike.
James, brilliant. Thank you very much. You probably need a glass of water now, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Soften the throat a bit. I mean, just to put it out to the audience, it's a 20-minute webinar, but we can go over. But if there's any questions from anyone out there, fire away now. We can get them answered. I think a question for me, James, just quickly. Great presentation, and I've been part of the journey as well since you took Jedox, right? But the work you did with the 365 integration, that you said it was pretty simple. Did you need IT help on that a little bit?
I wasn't really. Right? Yeah, sorry, I wasn't really involved in that part of it, to be honest. That was more the management account side. Okay. So I was more focused on the planning and the reporting, but yeah. So as far as I know, it's fine.
Yeah, well, it's working very well at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe give it a couple more minutes. Please feel free to fire the questions in. And as I said before, James is a willing reference. We have a case study customer success story already on our site already. But if you do want to speak to him privately, it's not a problem. I'm sure we can set that up.
Covered quite a lot, I guess.
You did. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, there's a question here. I can't even see it. Can you see it? For some reason, I can't see it. Here we go. Question here from John Claude. What would you say was your biggest challenge through the design and implementation phases?
I think there's two things, but they're connected. It's getting your data, and it's Christelle, the project manager. The first thing that she said to me when I met her was make sure that your data is clean before you start the implementation. And now perfect clean data doesn't exist anywhere. So I mean, I think the D365 stuff was pretty clean because that's the ERP. But some of the data, like our payroll data, still isn't as clean as it could be. And that it throws out funnies in the cubes, I guess, when you do any reports, but you can't kind of anticipate. So as much as possible, get your data clean, and then be clear on what it is that you want out of it. So that design part, and the clearer you can articulate your vision to the consultants, they're very good at delivering your vision. But obviously, if you give them, messy data and don't give them a clear view of what your outcomes need to be, then you might not. That's probably where some implementations struggle, I would imagine.
Yeah, cheers, James. I think it's also probably worth noting the implementation partner you work with here as well. I know by Jedox, and you've got a good working relationship with them.
Yeah, so I mean, I think one of the things that is it makes it sound potentially like we did all of this in the implementation. So it has been a journey over the last 2 years, and the access rights piece is something that Kaiboss worked with us to get it to work in a way that it is today. So that wasn't delivered in the original implementation, although what we wanted was delivered. We could control it all. It was just in a spreadsheet, which was hard to maintain. We've now got something that's just we maintain the front end jobs that Kaiboss built for us, which was it's excellent piece of work.
Then another question here. So one's from Seb actually. So he's just asking around the future of AI automation. Do you see it to start implementing or working onto that?
I sort of deliberately, I had a little thing on the next steps of, looking at AI, and then I sort of took it off last night. Yeah, obviously, but I guess it's something that, there's obviously AI capability within Jedox. I'm not really using it yet, but I'd probably look to Seb, to you, to show me how I can use that. And then obviously, AI is kind of exploding, and yeah, I'm starting to look at certain things, but it's something I didn't really want to talk about today.
But we get it's a hot topic, right? No matter
I
where
know
we
it
go
is,
with
yeah.
it. So you can't avoid the conversation on it. And then, to be fair to Lee, has also asked a question around any use cases that you think AI features in Jedox could be helpful on. Maybe the agentic stuff which we've got on helping you plan or helping you report. Maybe that could be a benefit in the future.
I mean, I'm sure it could be a benefit, and you guys call and show me what we can talk about it, but I haven't really thought about too much at this stage.
All good, that's fine. Cheers, James. Yeah, I guess any more questions? And I think we can probably wrap it up. But okay, James, and then to everyone, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it, and to you, James, as well. Yeah, so grateful for your time and the presentation. A lot of work's gone into that, so thank you.
Okay, all good.
And I'll probably chat to you next week.
Sounds good.
See you later.
Cheers.